This video is sponsored by Card Kingdom. Use the links in the description to visit their store. Doing another Aetherdrift draft, and we have a doozy of a first pick. Mostly, I mean, it's a good problem to have because we have Aganosaur Rex and Muyan Ling, both of which are incredibly strong. Aganosaur Rex has this powerful combat trigger cycling effect, also just a huge trampler. Muyan Ling can get you more value in the sense that she can draw you cards and stuff like that, and I think that makes a significant difference. And in this format, games go longer a lot, and having, a value engine is usually a good idea. Aganosaur Rex is great and would be the pack one, pick one in many scenarios. But in this one, I think it's Muyan Ling. If one of them didn't cost double color, I'd be inclined to take it because then you could splash it. But yeah, we'll take Muyan Ling. Obviously means we want flyers a little more than normal, vehicles a little more than normal, but, those are things you want anyway. All right, so here we've got Grimbauble versus Wreckage Wickerfolk, I think, is basically what we're looking at. Both really good. I think Grimbauble is better, its removal, but it has been, less ridiculous than Stab or Burst Lightning or any of those cards overall, mostly because it seems like they gave a lot of creatures, especially more expensive ones, 3 or more toughness, like Wreckage Wickerfolk. Yeah, I mean, we're probably supposed to take the Bauble, but I do like the Wickerfolk a lot. Blue-black artifacts would be a great place to be for Muyan Ling, if that's what happens here. Sky Serpent Seeker is also great. Blue-green is obviously less artifact-centric, but this is a flyer, and it's just a great card, and all the exhaust stuff is pretty great overall. This white drop is 2-drop has been pretty underwhelming, sadly. A lot of 2-drops in this format are if they don't do much more than attack and block. Yeah, I'm going to take the Seeker and see what happens. None of the other stuff in this pack is all that exciting. I mean, Hellish Sideswipe, especially when you have Grimbaubles, is pretty good, but let's take the Seeker here. All right, so now we have a Packdoll Terror. Pretty easy, I think, to take it here when we've got Grimbauble, Muyan Ling, Packdoll Terror. I mean, that's just... the Packdoll Terror is great. It's one of these, it's not like a value engine, excuse me, in the sense that, it draws you cards or anything, but the life drain really adds up. And if you have multiples and then you cast a Signpost uncommon, I've done that a few times, had it done to me a few times, and it's ridiculous because you get, the Signpost uncommon drains your opponent 1 for each artifact you control after creating 2 Thopters, which will each trigger your Packdoll Terror. So it's pretty ridiculous. And one of the things that works really well in this format. All right, I like Roadside Blowout a lot. It's not amazing, but you end up getting tempo out of it most of the time, and it replaces itself. It is interesting that they made it so you can't bounce tokens for 1 mana. I'm not sure why they did that. I mean, in the past we've had things where bouncing tokens is super easy. It is worth. I mean, obviously, I think it's a more balanced design because rarely do you actually spend the 1 unless you really need to get a blocker out of the way and it only costs 1. I do like Earth Rumbler, but I think we go Roadside Blowout when we've already got Muyan Ling. All right, Nimble Thopterist, a nice pickup for the Packdoll Terror Muyan Ling situation we have going on. It makes a flying Thopter. You do sometimes in the blue-black deck end up with, kind of too many 4-drops because the Terror and the Thopterist are both so good, but I'll worry about that later. All right, Godlight Optimist, not a bad thing to have. Something that can come down ahead of Muyan Ling and then gain flying. And obviously we've got artifacts to spend the mana on. It's not a great card overall, though. I think Mutant Surveyor is probably slightly better. But given the whole blue-black thing we have going on, I think I take the Optimizer. Bloodfell Cave is not a crazy pickup, but, we'll take the Optimizer. All right, the Mangler is a nice little defensive creature, is pretty good. One thing about it is, it's not that easy to attack with, even when you play Muyan Ling, although I guess she can crew it, so it's problem solved, I guess. But it's a nice defensive card in a format where being defensive early is pretty good. The Sarcophagus is okay when you need artifacts. I don't like the Indomitable very much. you know, having to pay the cost and life to get it back it's a pretty big cost. It's not like an unplayable card, but okay. I mean, we're not in the exhaust deck, but even on its own, especially when we have payoffs for doing stuff with artifacts and vehicles, I like the Refueler a lot. It's really insane if you go the exhaust route, and that's not impossible. Like, the way our deck is looking, it's not like we picked up a bunch of black. And we do have one exhaust card already. All right, we'll take another Mangler pretty happily. Yeah, we'll take a Tranquil Cove now. I don't like Stall Out. The Pilot's okay. You know, maybe I will take the Pilot, actually. Yeah. Cards like Stall Out just rarely end up being worth it in Limited, and the data would reflect that fact. You just don't get a card worth the value. So, I'm not really going to play either of these, but I'll grab a Spell Pierce here. I think having a gain land is probably better than a mediocre 3-drop, even one with flying. Like, making our mana better is pretty big. You know, we may end up in blue-green, but in which case we don't need it as much, but maybe it helps us splash something. Okay, so Bloodghast is, like, good, but not amazing, especially if you're not in, like, black-green, where we're going to mill ourselves a lot. Carrion Cruiser's really good. You know, it's definitely better in black-green, but, you know, we like vehicles and artifacts, and it, you know, gets us something back from the graveyard. Obviously, if we were, like, going to lean into blue-green, the Scurryfoot is great. Like, it's an amazing creature for a common. But yeah, I think we'll take the Cruiser. We do have a lot of vehicles, but several of them, you know, don't really, you know, the Manglers aren't things we like ever crew, for example. So, do I need a 2-drop more than I need another Thopterus? Probably not. The Wretched Doll is a solid card. You know, these artifacts are passable, but not really things I want to play unless I'm, like, really into exhaust and need more exhaust, or... You know, I have played with a few affinity cards, and the Tortoise does kind of do the job when you need 2 artifacts. We do have a Thornwood Falls, but I don't think the Seeker is really something one wants to splash. Like, we're not going to play it if we end up in blue-black. And yeah, we just take the Thopterist because it's a really good card, especially when we've got artifact payoffs and we want flyers and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll take a Thopterist here. Some more Pact Alterers would be good, and so would the Sorcery Signpost Uncommon. Well, so Chandra Spark Hunter is pretty good. Red's not a great color, so I think her win rate's being pulled down a little bit, but she's still a pretty good card. And I would be inclined to take her if I had, like, any fixing, but given that this pack has a Spin Out and a Grim Bauble, I'm probably taking one of them. You know, they're just great black cards. You know, we might even wheel a Thopterist or a Mangler or whatever. I'm probably gonna go Bauble here. A second Bauble is good, although, I'm gonna take a Spin Out. It does kill everything, and that does really matter in this format. So, ooh, okay. So we're not great at graveyard stuff, but we're gonna be okay at it. And this card, you know, this was one of the first cards that to me indicated when I was playing this format early on how slow this format was, because you look at this card and it's way too slow for a lot of limited formats we've seen lately. But in this one, you can just hang back and cast everything out of your graveyard and things go crazy. And, you know, it's better in black-green, but we're still going to take it here. This pack is pretty stacked, though. I would love a Stock Up and an Engine Rat. I'm less excited about these two, but I would take them. But yeah, we'll take the wrappings. Okay, Pact Altair number 2 makes me feel pretty good. I think we take it over a Sideswipe or an Engine Rat or a Howler's Heavy, all of which are things I would play. Okay. Leaning towards Sideswipe. I guess I do only have the one Bauble, though, huh? Yeah, the Thopterist can kind of work with Sideswipe. I mean, I'll probably take it. Sacking a vehicle always feels fine, too, so we'll go with it. Okay, I like Momentum Breaker a lot. Not an artifact or a synergy card, but it ends up being like 2 mana, destroy target creature, gain 4 life later in the game. And, well, it doesn't destroy a target, but destroy your opponent's worst creature, gain 4 life later in the game is what it feels like a lot, and that's pretty good. We will take a rare because of gems, and we're not playing any of this other stuff. So, all right. I mean, I like Maximum Overdrive. I could consider the Stillwater Cliffs, but I like having one of these. It's like the only trick in the format that's good, and that's because it's so useful in so many situations. I have seen a few push the limit decks, which I want to try at some point, where you cycle a bunch of clamorous ironclads and stall the game out and then bring them all back. But we'll grab a ticket tortoise here. I don't think we're going to play it, but, you know. I like the look of our deck a lot overall. We do need more creatures, you know, for Curse Cloth Wrappings to be at its very best. We do have really good ones to cast. Okay, well, this Bauble came back. I think I take it over Thopterus number 3 or Mangler number 3, especially now that we have Hellish Sideswipe. And Curse Cloth Wrappings. It does load our graveyard. Yeah, I mean, Siphon feels fine. So is Howler's Heavy. Something we can cycle and then cast with Curse Cloth's Wrapping. I do like a nice little combo that uses a couple of commons is Howler's Heavy plus the Engine Rat. You know, you end up blanking the opponent's power and then killing their thing. So Riverturn Monument is pretty legit in this format. Both the mill cards are. The Ether Siphon that I gave like a D2 in the set review. It's actually a good card. And it's an artifact. We can use it to load our graveyard to set up Curse Cloth Wrappings. I'm leaning towards taking it. You know, it's not plan A for our deck, really. Like, we're not going to try to only win with it. But it's a way we can win. So, yeah, I mean, I think we take it. Hull Drifter's not bad. The Surveyor's not either. But we've seen a lot of Bloodghast. We could have had a Bloodghast deck. Okay, so Speed Demon's nuts, and, like, our deck is actually, like, maybe the better deck for it, because I think we have one Start Your Engines card, and the fewer of those you have, the less quickly you die. The fewer cards you draw, too, but obviously we're taking the Speed Demon. This draft has gone pretty well in terms of rares. Like, I think Muyan Ling, Speed Demon, and Curse Cloth Wrappings are, like, 3 of the best cards in the set. So, you know, I'll take it. All right, here's an Engine Rat. I've been wanting some Engine Rats. They're not bad to cast from the graveyard. You know, they're not exciting, but, well, yeah, they kind of are, because they have Death Touch. They'll be 2/2s. You can cast them for 1. Works with Howler's Heavy if we pull that off. So, yeah, we'll take an Engine Rat here over another Howler's Heavy. And obviously we don't want Ancient Vendetta. They don't give us that many completely unplayable cards in Limited today, but Ancient Vendetta and Unstoppable Plan are among them. All right, we'll take a Flood the Engine here. It's a nice removal spell. I like it more than the Buccaneer in our particular situation. We don't have, like, an incredible amount of removal. And if we're going to try to Riverturn Monument sometimes, then we probably should have some more. Yeah, I like the Buccaneer a fair bit, but Flood the Engine's probably just better card anyway. Okay, so Bounce Off's all right. Don't really like Pit Automaton. It's not like we need a ton more artifacts. Also, it doesn't do damage, and it has Defender. You know, occasionally you can use its ability to do things, but it's better to have cards that can do more than block and work with one mechanic or a few mechanics in the set. I'm going to take Risky Shortcut. What I'd really like is a stock up, but, you know, Risky Shortcut's not bad. All right, well, I like Spectral Interference, but I think we'll take another Refueler. You know, we don't have much in the way of exhaust, but like I said, if we already like artifacts and vehicles, it's a card we'll play anyway, so I think we're down with it. Right, here we'll take an Interference. Do I want Trip Up or Walking Sarcophagus? I mean, I could use some more creatures. It is true that more Start Your Engines might make the Speed Demon more likely to kill us, but I could use some more removal too, and Trip Up is pretty good. Okay, so we definitely have more than enough vehicles, but we don't have... I guess we don't have that much in the way of, like, sheer card advantage. You know, like a stock up would be nice, but Hull Drifter's not bad. Problem is, our curve's already pretty high. I think I'm going to grab a Bounce Off here. Another Howler's Heavy. I mean, we were definitely in the right 2 colors, because we're seeing all these playable, you know, cards in blue and black, like very deep in packs. Okay. I mean, I think we run the River Churn Monument. It's definitely true that if you build like a really build around it, you know, it can be a lot better, but yeah. So these don't really cost 4. It's making my curve look even higher than it already is. Yeah, so creatures wise, we'd only have 12. And I look at that number because of Curse Cloth wrappings. But it's probably, you know, if you just cast 2 things, it's more than enough. We've got to thin our deck out here, though. We probably don't play Bounce Off in the end. You know, the Optimizer's not that exciting, but having a 2-drop that can actually attack and block is probably a good idea. Because mostly we've got the Manglers, like, as a defensive play, and we've got the Pilot, and Howler's Heavies. You know, it's kind of a 2-drop, but it's also kind of not. Yeah, I mean, we probably end up cutting the Buccaneer. We're not really desperate for Siphon Fuel, I don't think. Maybe we're just supposed to cut the Monument when we're not super built around it. I mean, one of the nice things about it, is, especially in like a more graveyard-oriented deck, is you can mill yourself 2 and get upside out of it, and we have one way to do that. That's probably not enough. I guess we have 2 with Carrion Cruiser as well. But it's pretty legit. Like, it can win games pretty quickly. I wonder if I'm just supposed to cut the Refuelers. We have no other exhaust. Even though I think it's a fine card, it's not like we won't... I mean, it's an excellent card if you have a bunch of exhaust. But when you have just 2 copies of the Refueler, it's definitely a lot less good. Even though it's still okay. And we have enough good other stuff going on that they're not going to be amazing in our deck. I probably end up cutting one of them. The thing is, I'm trying to prioritize things that will be creatures on turn 2 a little bit here. Partly because of Curse Cloth wrappings, and partly just because we don't want to get completely run over. Now, we've got like 2 baubles and stuff that can keep that from happening. But, yeah, I mean, I think the Mangler is going to be better in this deck probably than Ranger's Refueler, which is sad, but... We do have this exhaust ability, I guess, but it's generally one that beats your opponent. So it doesn't really matter that we draw a card. So, yeah, I think we'll cut the Refuelers, sad as that is. And that's still not enough, obviously. Yeah, I mean, the heavies aren't amazing. We've got 1 Engine Rat. We don't have cycling payoffs or anything. So I don't hate the idea of cutting them. They are good with Curse Cloth wrappings. We have so much to do on turn 2, maybe we don't want Spectral Interference. Even though I like the card a fair bit, but given what our 2-drop slot looks like, and how much we need creatures and artifacts, and it's not one, I think we probably cut it. Yeah, we're down to 11 creatures, which is fine. It is kind of funny, the Speed Demon plus plus River Churn Monument is a little bit... we may not want to mill ourselves that much, I guess, if we've got the Speed Demon, huh? Yeah, I think we cut at least 1 heavy. I think the Sideswipe's going to be good in a deck with 2 baubles and a bunch of vehicles. I mean, maybe Trip Up is probably our worst removal spell, but we also don't have so many. We probably have enough, though. Yeah, this way we're sort of, you know, we're doing the artifact thing, we're doing some graveyard stuff. You know, the synergy is here, and I think I would rather have the heavy, so... Alright. Looks like a pretty strong deck. I mean, it was hard to cut down, mostly because the colors were so open and our deck is so deep, which is, like I said, a good problem to have. Okay, this is not, like, the best hand ever in terms of having, like, early drops, but we've got both our colors. Howler's Heavy is likely to sort of fog something. We'll get to 4. It's a good hand for the side swipe because of the Thopterist. I mean, it's not a great hand, but keeping 7 is usually a good idea when you can. And in this format, this isn't a disastrous hand or anything close to a disastrous hand. There would be some formats where if you don't have a 2-drop, may as well pack up and go home, but this isn't one of them, luckily. Don't have any of our bombs or anything either, but well, so much for that problem. Okay. So like in an ideal world, I'd play Thopterist and then Muyan Ling, draw a card, that's kind of the best way to do it. Okay. Do I cycle Howler's Heavy here for no value? I mean, I probably do. I pretty desperately need to hit a land. So I think we just do it. There we go. Okay, and we also hit the Midnight Mangler, which next turn we can send in the air if we play Muyan Ling, so that works for me. One of the mini cards that makes like 2 drops, 2 mana 2/2s with first strike bad in this format is the Mangler. So yeah, I'd probably play Muyan Ling next turn, especially if they're tapped out. And they are. So yeah, I think we go Muyan Ling. So what we have to do... Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, she can just crew... Yeah, that's fine. So she'll crew the Mangler. We'll draw a card off of it. It does mean we're defenseless for a turn, but drawing a card is usually better, All right, now we have the wrappings too, so we've got a couple different value engines. So if they deal with Muyan Ling, it's not a huge deal. We've got good removal, given that we have a vehicle token and a Thopterist in our hand. I feel pretty good about stuff. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd have like Overdrive up, but we can cast her from the graveyard later, more or less. It's technically a token. An embalmed token, but you know what I mean. I mean, if they kill our Mangler here, it's not really that big of a deal. Killing Muyan Ling would be sad, but it's already like a 3-for-1, so it's not that sad. Yeah. Okay, Thopterist. They have 2 free damage on us here, yeah. So they will take that. All right. So I think sending in both vehicles is pretty good. So playing our own Thopterist. Yeah. I'm not really worried about anything they have going on just yet. So I don't think we need to use removal or anything. So yeah, I think we play Thopterist. And then we will... Do I want to crew with Muyan Ling? I guess a 2/4 is a better blocker here than a 3/2, so no. And then we will crew the one she gave us. Send them both in. We'll draw 1 card at least. And kill their Thopter. So yeah, I mean, we could sideswipe here. We have the mana, but I'm not really seeing a reason to do it yet. It is kind of funny we can sideswipe and then recast the thing we sack at some point. Like, I could have done that here. Don't really think doing something that cute, especially when we're not killing anything that that I'm very concerned about, If they had, like, a bomb, then sure. But not so much. We don't have a 2-drop in here. We just got our heavy, so... That is one thing, if I can add to the board, I'm still going to a lot of the time, but in this format, sometimes you really do take a turn off to cast something like this, so that next turn you can start going off, and it turns out okay. Yeah, not too worried about that. I mean, if they attack us here... Ooh, Death Touch is annoying. Do have maximum overdrive, though. And honestly, just letting one of our vehicles die isn't exactly a big cost. Well, we know they're tapped out, so I am going to block now. And I'll just kill their Thopterist. Okay. So, do we just want to sideswipe that thing? I mean, I can draw 3 cards off a sideswipe. If I sack my Thopterist, hit them for 7. I need a crew first. But then later I can recast the Thopterist. I kind of like that. I think it puts them under tons of pressure, especially because we're going to draw a million cards. So, yeah, let's go ahead and crew this. Then we're going to crew this. Then we're going to cast Hellish Sideswipe. Sack our Thopterist. Attack them for 7. Oh, actually, we do only draw 1. I forget it's one of those that's capped. There's some card draw effect in this format that isn't, crazily enough. So now I think we play Curse Cloth Wrappings, and I don't really know how they beat us at this point. Because now we can, you know, we have 2 creatures to cast out of the graveyard. Like, leaving up Overdrive mana is kind of like, sure, I could do it, but why? You know, like... If they kill something, I can recast it, and I already have 2 bodies to recast from the graveyard anyway. Then I've got removal and maximum overdrive, so I'm feeling pretty good about the situation. Yeah, Muyonling's absurd, especially if they can't kill her. That's what's crazy is, like, even if they had killed her, like, right away, we'd be in a really good spot because she drew us a card and gave us a vehicle. Why not attack? That's interesting. It's free. I have no blockers. It's not like I have... Like, even if I had the bounce spell, I don't know why one would not want to attack. Well, I did draw a bounce spell. So, yeah. The best thing to do is probably cast the Thopterist so that I can crew both of these and send these in. So I guess that's what I'm going to do. We will give the Thopterist... Cast the Thopterist. Then we crew this. They've likely got some sort of interaction that'll keep us from winning this turn, but I think we'll make them use it. And then we'll crew this. I don't need to use Flood the Engines or anything. I mean, I guess they could have the... They could have a reach trick or something, so I could bounce, but I think it's probably fine just to attack with these 3 and make them have something. I mean, if it's normal removal, we can blink it. And if they use the reach aura... Okay, well, we can't blink that one, unfortunately, but that's okay. Sure, we'll put it on top. So, do I want to make them recast Keen Buccaneer? I'll just leave things up here. Well, by things, I mean maximum overdrive. All right, well, that should be game. Because we can just bounce both their blockers. Well, remove one, bounce the other. Should be no problem. When you just draw this many cards, there's just like, you know, there's just no way that another deck can keep up with you. You know, unless they're doing the same thing, which is possible. Like, they were a exhaust deck. They could have had the vehicle that draws you off of exhaust. That would have let them keep up with us, most likely, but they didn't have it. Okay. Solid hand. It's another one that's not, like, amazing. We do at least have a 2-drop. And, you know, Sideswipe's fine with Carrion Cruiser. It is kind of a bummer to cast Carrion Cruiser on 3. Trying to decide if I'm going to bother. Kind of thinking I'm not. You know, again, that's something that you wouldn't want to do in most formats. Not use your mana when you can. But there's a chance I whiff. I mean, it has to be a creature or vehicle that gets milled. There's a very real chance that doesn't happen. So I'd rather, like, trade off my Mangler first, which is probably what I'll try to do here. So, yeah, I think we'll just pass. Plus, it might make them think I have counter magic, which, you know, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably block Sundial if it attacks us here. Then play the Thopterus this turn. Yeah, the Boost Buggy. Okay, they decide not to attack us, which I'm fine with. Yeah, you know, the Bauble, it's good, but it's not nearly as good as it would be in most formats because there's just not as many X2s running around. But I feel fine about playing Thopterist here. And we'll pass the turn. I feel even better about trading off the Thopterist because I get it back. I get another Thopter, you know. So their engines have started. Okay. I don't imagine they're attacking with both of those. Just one of those, yeah. Or neither. Yeah, I think neither's not a bad call on their part. Yeah, we're still sort of in an awkward spot with this Carrion Cruiser. I'm thinking about killing the Boost Buggy with my Sideswipe. I don't really want them getting treasure. I would sack the Mangler, I think. Maybe not. Yeah. I wish I had one more black mana so I could also Cruiser this turn or Bauble, although the Bauble's not great. I guess I'm just going to attack with both of these, actually, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, trade's fine. So then side-swiping the Boost Buggy, sack the Mangler seems okay. Then I can Cruiser next turn and get something back. Yeah. I'd rather hold on to the Thopter right now, and drawing the card off of the Mangler sounds appealing to me. All right. Wait. Oh, I did draw a card. For some reason, I thought it was going to show me a trigger, but it didn't. I was like, well, the Speed Demon came from somewhere. We need more black mana still, but pretty good spot where we can play the Cruiser, get something back. Maybe they'll play something we can bobble. And obviously, if I draw black, I just slam the Speed Demon, draw an extra card. Draw 2 extra cards, probably, since we have Aetherdrift in play. Well, we did not draw the blue. I mean, the black. We have plenty of blue. All right, so let's go ahead and play our Cruiser. We milled 1 swamp, plus our Curse Cloth wrappings, huh? Yeah, I think we grab another Aetherdrift. Grab it back, that is. Attack for 1. It's kind of like they're getting their mana set up, which I don't love, because right now we don't have, like, removal that can deal with something really scary. And there are lots of scary things in the format. Opponent is going pretty hard in multiple colors. Might just be about to reanimate the Boost Buggy, which is not... Or get those back, yeah. Decent value. They could play them both. If only the Boost Buggy... If only I could get them to crew the Boost Buggy so I could hit it with Grim Bobble. That'd be nice. Well... Okay. I'm going to play the Aetherdrift. I'm going to crew this with the Aetherdrift. And then send both of these in. I'm okay with a trade. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we did lose a swamp and our wrappings. A swamp would be so good. But, you know, a bunch of nimble Aetherdrifts isn't bad either. It's not as exciting maybe as some other things, but yeah, we definitely block. I mean, make them burn a spell if they've got one. All right. Well, let's attack with our Thopters. Then play another Nimble Thopterus. Is this the 3rd time we've cast one this game? Yeah, I guess it's just the 3rd. Just. And we'll end our turn. They can play probably anything they draw in their deck. Yeah, that's not exactly scary, though. And they whiffed, which is also a bummer. We had a bad mill trigger, too. I guess it evens out, maybe. But it is a bummer to whiff on Pothole Mole. I mean, even if, you know, you just want to get it because you want lands. All right, well, we can start milling them, I guess. I guess I'm going to tag with everything here. The more cards I have in their graveyard, the better for River Churn Monument, you know, if that actually comes up. Yeah, I'm going to attack with everything. If they want to block with Pothole Mole, that's great. And if they don't, it doesn't really matter either. So, yeah, I could use Maximum Overdrive. Yeah, I think I will, actually. They do have the mana up for Ride's End, though. Yeah, let's just let it be. I think. All right, they've got a Broken Wings. So I could use Overdrive here. I think that's even better, actually. Then we'll play our Monument. And end our turn. Not exactly a game where we're going to have to win by milling, I don't think, but it's not, you know, a terrible backup plan. They could turn it around one way or another. They're probably going to blow it up with their Aether Jacket, sadly. Well, I can Grim Bobble it, actually, so never mind. All right, so let's go ahead and mill them. I don't see a reason to mill myself. Our Curse Cloth Wrappings is in the graveyard. We've already played the graveyard vehicle, so I'm just going to target them. Okay. Well, let us bobble the jacket. Attack for 4. We can play the Speed Demon next turn. And also, the Speed Demon could mill us out in some scenarios. So, you know. How many cards are in the graveyard? 12, and they've got 18 left in their library. I think we'll kill them with damage before we mill them out. Packdoll Terror. Yeah, all right, so let's play the Speed Demon. Just want to see that draw trigger. So we'll draw 2 and lose 2 here. So we'd be able to kill them either with damage or milling out next turn. Just kind of messed up, but this deck is kind of insane, I think. You know, the bombs we got, the things we got that are good for making the game go long, the different value engine 2-for-1 type cards we have, like, you know. It also makes it easier to play cards like the Monument when you're drawing a bunch of extra cards, because it matters less that you have a card that may not actually impact the game. You know, the Monument is at its most potent, really, when you get it early. But, you know, our opponent milled themselves some, and that made the Monument even better. All right, pretty good hand. Might be our best one so far, actually. Just in terms of, like, actually having an early game. Engine Rat's pretty nice to get back with Carrion Cruiser, you know, easy to trade off with. We haven't done anything with Packdoll Terrors yet. We drew one in that last game, but not until the game was over. Our deck's not, like, super into the artifact thing. I mean, I think we've got, you know, 10 artifacts or whatever. But I think our only payoffs for them are the Terrors. So we're not going super hard into that theme. Some versions of this deck do, where you get the other signpost that drains life and everything, but we didn't get that. All right, nice Grim Bobble target. Always feels good, because you don't get them as often in this format, so yeah. It's not like a perfect one, because starting your engines itself is value, but it's not like insane value. We may not do anything next turn, because again, playing the Cruiser doesn't really seem like a great plan. Oh, well, now we're going to do something. We're going to Flood the Engine on that thing before they start drawing cards with it. Because that is a problem, and we don't currently have one of our big, awesome ways to draw a bunch of extra cards, and they were going to have one. I'm probably going to play the Terror next, just because I'd like to get the drain triggers off of the other 2 cards. Yeah, Muyan Ling is really good, but she's not... It's better to have something in play that will gain flying already. So I still think playing the Terror first is even better. I would block the Surveyor with my Engine Rat for sure. Okay, well, they don't have max speed, so that's not super concerning. And yeah, we'll play Muyan Ling here. Sends our terror into the... Oh, she only gives flying to vehicles. I need to read Muyan Ling, apparently. That's the second time I've done that. It's only vehicles, not artifact creatures she gives flying to. Still a good play. I mean, we can set this up next turn. So playing the Thopterist works because the thing already has flying. That would have been the better play instead of the terror on the previous turn. But that's okay. Mistakes were made. They may attack with both their creatures here. No. Then I'm just going to block with the Engine Rat. That's annoying. Means my vehicle's less likely to get through. Okay. I guess play Thopterist, send this vehicle in after crewing. I'm not going to have a great block for it. Like, this Wicker Folk's going to hit us this next turn. I think that I just have to accept that. Getting back the Engine Rat, also not a terrible play, actually. That might be a little bit better, because I can have a way set up to block the Regent, and I can still send this in. Yeah, so not like that, though. So let's play our Carrion Cruiser here. I don't need to do it first, actually. There's no reason to do it first. Yeah, so let's crew this. Because I'll probably draw a card here. Yep. I draw a card. Okay. And then, yeah, we'll play Carrion Cruiser. Drain a life. Get back our Engine Rat and replay the Rat. So the Wicker Folk, yeah, they're going to kill her. Fair enough. Holding on to her might have been nice. And it's something I could have maybe achieved if I had tried a little harder. Okay. Playing the Thopterist isn't bad. It's probably what we do here. Yeah. They're going to get to max speed pretty soon, which isn't great. I can delay it a turn with Howler's Heavy, but yeah, I can't do anything right now about Wreckage Wicker Folk. And that's kind of a problem. Because if they do get to max speed, Risen Necro Regent is a significant problem. We do have a Pact Altair in play, multiple artifacts in our hand, which always feels good, but... But it doesn't feel great. And I'm definitely not blocking with my Thopter on the Wicker Folk. Like, I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do here. I think I need to kill them before getting multiple zombie tokens is a big problem for us. Yeah, so we will take one. And doing like 2 to them a turn is a way to do that. Okay, more mana does not hurt. All right, so let's... Also, this eventually starts making them lose life. So let's hit them for 1. Then let's play our Mangler. Drop them to 10. And yeah, I'm going to cycle Howler's Heavy here to delay max speed for 1 more turn. Ooh. This is sort of a non-bow when we do get it with Flood the Engine. It happens. They're both really good cards, so you end up playing both of them, but they do... Because they can just sack the thing that's flooded, which doesn't do me that much good. It does start my engines, and I can gain some life later, so it's not like it doesn't do anything, but it does a lot less than it would otherwise do. That's for sure. Okay. We are at 6 now, which is a good number for our engine rat. Yeah. Kind of feel like that's what I'm going to be doing here. Just make them lose a bunch of life. And hopefully kill them before... I mean, I can kill one zombie with the bauble. Do I play Momentum Breaker? If I was going to do it this turn, I probably already should have. But I could play, like, the Pilot. Going wide itself helps us a little bit, but once they start getting zombies, it's not going to help us that much. You know what I mean? So I'm leaning towards just using Engine Rat's ability right here. Next turn, we'll probably do some other stuff because of the bauble to kill a zombie. So, yeah, we'll just pass the turn. Oh, I don't love that. That means they get to gain life and they kill one of the ways we were going to try to kill them. All right. I mean, if they did attack with the Necro Regent here... I don't think they will, but... Yeah, no, they're just going to attack with that. Start making zombies. Yeah, they also got their Mutant Surveyors online to draw them cards, which certainly matters. Drop them to 9. That's kind of interesting that's... Drop them to 9. Playing Grim Bauble now is like a lot less enticing, isn't it? I mean, I'm still going to do it. I mean, I can still leave mana up for the Engine Rat, especially, you know, because of that, it's probably worth doing. Yeah, I can still hit them for 1 in the air, too, which I'll do. It is unfortunate they took away my Packdoll Terror, but... So, yeah, we'll play the Bauble. Kill a zombie. They're going to draw an extra card here with their Surveyors. One would imagine. Yeah. We are still doing 3 a turn, which is a decent clock, but if they draw a way to kill our Engine Rat... And they'll probably stop attacking us with the Wicker Folk now, actually. So I'll probably only be able to do 2 a turn at this point. But I can send 4 bodies at them. I don't know. That might do something. Uh-oh. Now they have both of those. That's not great. So they're going to draw an extra card every turn and make a 2/2 every turn. That's going to outvalue us. We are at 22. So we have that going for us. Yeah. Okay. Drop them to 6. Okay, spin out is good news. Which of those do I want to kill more? And is it just better to let all that stuff happen and just kill them with engine rat? I mean, that's a real possibility too. And I can still leave up spin out in case things go a certain way. Yeah, I think just trying to kill him with engine rat is maybe our best bet here. Problem is, between drawing an extra card, they're going to draw like 2 extra cards this turn. They're going to kill the rat at some point. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but it's pretty likely. Still, I think that means we can leave up spin out and just end our turn here. Our mill win condition would, well, actually wouldn't be that good because a bunch of their cards are exiled. Ooh, see, that'll tutor them up whatever they want. I don't like the looks of this. Okay. Pretty good chance they just grab a removal spell here. Doing so to kill our engine rat puts them in a pretty good spot. Luckily, I do have spin out. Oh, they just got Ether Siphon. Okay, I can live with that. I mean, it'll mill us out kind of quickly, but not that quickly. You know? Not that quickly. And, like, they're dead if they pass the turn and don't kill us here. So, yeah, I think we pass again. Spin out is like our emergency play. Oh, crap. They hit a scrap compactor. And they just milled our Pactol Terror. Yeah, it's not good. We knew it was likely, you know. So let's think here. Do I drop them to 2? I mean, probably. Yeah, I'll drop them to 2. And then we'll crew this. I'm not sure I have any other ways to do direct damage to them, though. And they have this, like, crazy value engine. We basically have to draw our mill card, which is in our deck somewhere. They've only got 15 cards left, and they've got 6 cards in their graveyard now. So, like, it would be pretty good. That's not, though. That is not good. Curse Cloth Wrappings would be pretty good. Oh, there goes the monument. Well, don't love that. Okay. Another Mangler. Well, we're going to play a Mangler. And a Pilot and leave up, spin up, I guess. Yeah. Spin out. Maybe I'm supposed to kill that Spike Spitter. I probably am. Just going to leave up the mana for now. I'll probably kill something. Yeah. Another Wicker Folk. We mill some more cards. Yeah, we're gonna get milled out before we can kill them now. I guess, like I said, if we get Curse Cloth Wrappings, there's some potential because I can get back a Pactol Terror. And it is still in our deck, right? It's not, it hasn't been milled. So getting back Pactol Terror, then playing like Guidelight Optimizer. I mean, that takes 8 mana is a problem, and we've got 7. So it would take, unfortunately, a turn to make it happen. I'm probably going to crack a Bauble. That might give us the best chance at making something happen. Although in response, if we leave stuff on top, they can mill our library by drawing with Aether Siphon. So, you know. It is unfortunate they had the answers they needed, both for the Pactol Terror and the Rat. Granted, they're drawing enough extra cards that it's like gonna happen. Man, if Riverturn Monument was still in my deck, it would be an out too, because they now have 9 cards in their graveyard. But it is not. It is not still in my deck. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna hit the Spike Spitter with Spin Out here. See what happens. I think Surveilling is pretty useless right now, unfortunately. Like, our opponent would just shaft us if we did, so. Well, now we have the mana if we draw the Wrappings, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to hold on to this card because it may just buy us one more turn if they think we have a real card in our hand. Yeah, that mills 2, then they draw 2. There's the Wrappings. Mills 2, that draw 2, then they draw again. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and scoop. I'll stop wasting your time. Yeah, we got outvalued there. That's kind of how games go in this format. All right, this looks like a pretty good hand. We've got our, early plays that we need and one of our win conditions. Well, now we've got Muyan Ling in the mix too, which is nice. All right. Yeah, that's a card that's a lot better in the format than would be in most. It's just like a grindy surveil thing, But it's exactly what you want in this format. Most of the other colors don't have their own value engine signpost uncommon, but black-green does. I mean, I guess blue-green does. Alright, so yeah, we're just gonna pass the turn. Pretty good chance I just play Muyan, excuse me, Muyan Ling next turn. And then crew the Mangler and draw off of it like we've done before. Actually, I don't have double blue, so maybe there's not that good of a chance. It is true that right now, cycling the heavy's extra good with Curse Cloth Wrappings around. Yeah, that's a 5/5. That's a little bit scary. Gets less scary when you have maximum overdrive, but still. Okay, we did draw the mana we needed. So if I do the thing with Muyan Ling, I am going to take 7 on the backswing. I don't love that. I do not love it. So maybe I actually want to play the Thopterist. Don't have time for Curse Cloth Wrappings right now either. I could also leave up Howler's Heavy plus maximum overdrive. to deal with the Ooze Patrol problem, but that seems silly. Yeah, we're gonna play the Thopterist here. It still sets up Mu Yanling pretty nicely. But this isn't going super awesome for us, mostly because they have a huge creature. I don't love this card for the most part, but, you know, it works. The part I don't love about it is that there's a window where it can be killed very easily, but if you play it when your opponent's tapped out and your graveyard's filled with stuff, it's not too bad. Alright, I think we take 5. I could try to double block, but it would turn into a disaster. I can tell you that much. So we're just going to take 5. So now that we have the board set up better, playing Mu Yanling and drawing cards with it isn't nearly as dangerous. Luckily, they don't have any extra green mana to use this turn. Alright. So yeah, we're going to do Mu Yanling. I think we just send in our Thopter so that the Mangler hangs around. They may have removal for Mu Yanling, of course. Doesn't look like they do. I don't think we're in a spot where we can send in the Mangler too, unfortunately. Yeah, so we draw. Now I might try double blocking Ooze Patrol. Because I could crew this and double block it. Or Nimble Thopterist plus this. That's probably better, given that we have Mu Yanling in play. I'd rather hold on to the Mangler. Although, a crew 1 with that's a 3-2 with flying. It's not better, because it still does the I'm a creature thing on our turn. Do they have something scary to get back? Not really. They do have things to get back, but scary they are not. We are lucky they've only got 1 green mana right now. It's probably choking them out, because I think green is their main color based on their board in the graveyard. That is one thing about when you're trying to exhaust and you like also need to play a green spell. Sometimes you do get choked on your mana. So, obviously enough they can reanimate the Ooze Patrol. So I sort of feel like I'm just going to take another 5 here, and we're going to wait until we can use Maximum Overdrive. Yeah, I'm not going to block. Ugh. Yeah, these big green creatures, man. That one has Trample, too, so that's fun. Okay. So I can bobble the Scurryfoot out of the way, which is something. Let us attack with our Thopter again. I really need to find removal or bounce or whatever, but we're not finding it. I mean, Grim Bobble's removal, sort of, but you know what I mean. Yeah. We will bobble. Kill the Scurryfoot before it ever does the thing. Play our Pilot. I can't play the Pilot and leave up both Howler's Heavy and Maximum Overdrive, but that's probably okay. I do kind of have to hope Maximum Overdrive works, because like if they have a bunch of mana up, it's kind of not going to. So, you know. Double blocking Earth Rumbler. Oh man, it can reanimate vehicles too. Ooh. Well, we're gonna play Overdrive to save something here. And actually, growing Mu Yanling to a 3/5 is pretty good. Looks like the Rumbler is not going to rumble. Oh, right. It's because of Mu Yanling. I was a little surprised, but I shouldn't have been. Ooh, Engine Rat's good. That's a good draw. Alright, so we're going to attack with our Thopter again. Ooh, they've got Reach now, actually. I forget this stupid thing has Reach. Why'd they have to give it Reach? Well, so much for getting in and drawing a card here, huh? So I could cycle Howler's Heavy and then play it, yeah. So let's play our Engine Rat here. And I think we also play the Wrappings. Yeah. So now we can start trading things off and not really caring too much. Also, these are both zombies, so that doesn't hurt. I think cycling the heavy makes sense, because I can cast it from the graveyard, and it'll probably make a difference in combat here. Hopefully. Alright, Javelineer. Yep, here comes the Rumbler. That's the annoying thing, though. Even if I kill the Rumbler, they're going to get it back. But hopefully, I mean, I shouldn't have to get blown out to kill it here. Let's crew this vehicle token. And yeah, we'll block with Thopterist. Do I want to block with Mangler? I can't cast the Mangler from my graveyard. So if I block with two things with 3 toughness, the Howler's Heavy will save one of them. And then I'll still have the Heavy to cast from the graveyard. I think that makes sense. We do sort of have to hope they don't have interaction. Okay. So they only get to kill one thing, which means if they reanimate it... Ooh. Monument's pretty good against them, but freaking Earth Rumbler can empty their graveyard. You know, which means... they can make it so the exhaust ability's not that useful. Plus, we might help them with their Broodheart engine while we're at it, but... milling them out might be a more realistic win condition, especially if I never draw removal. Which is, you know, a real possibility. So... also, milling ourselves is also really good because of Cursed Cloth Wrappings. Yeah, we're probably supposed to just start milling. That is what we're supposed to do here. They've milled themselves a bunch already, so they're at 17. Ooh, there's the removal we wanted. Okay, well, we probably go a little more aggressive now. Although... they can reanimate the Broodwagon, which is a big pain. But I'll get to draw a card off of the trigger. Yeah. So they do have to crew it, so it actually makes sense to attack them first, I think. Yeah, I don't think I'm sending that in. I think I just want to draw one card before deciding what to do with the rest of my turn. So, let's attack them with this. That'll make them crew the brood wagon, which they will be able to reanimate, like I said. But I'll have drawn a card, so I don't think I care too much. They can also only do it at sorcery speed, at least. So we get in for a hit, draw a card, another land. Okay. So yeah, I think we play out Monument here. So they could destroy the Monument. That is an option too, but I think if they do that, we're okay with it. Yeah, they kind of have to do the thing, and they will. So do they destroy the Monument? They do. So I think we're going to go ahead and mill both of us here. So we still have Curse Cloth wrappings, so I'm not... You know, milling them out is still a realistic win condition. It'll just, you know, won't happen quite as quickly. Don't think they're going to rumble here. Okay. It's kind of amazing we only have one creature in our graveyard. So we will cast Howler's Heavy. Gives us a 4/5. And pass the turn. I guess it, you know, the better play with the Monument is probably waiting until they had too many cards in their graveyard. Of course, they would ultimately probably get back to Earth Rumbler, which would turn off that mode. So that's partly why I ran it out when I did. All right, we're going to crack our Grim Bauble here. Okay, I mean, we could put the Terror in the graveyard. It gives us the chance to, like, double spell next turn. I don't hate that, actually. It'll also be a 4/5. Yeah, let's just go ahead and put it in the graveyard. So we will cast the Terror now. Gaining some life definitely matters too, really. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got the Engine Rat thing going again, I guess, too. You know, at some point I can start attacking, especially with the things that aren't already tokens. Because I can just cast them from the graveyard. Don't think we're going to do that here, but that is a thing. Why did they have to give the Brood Wagon reach, you know? Yeah, that's a nice trigger to have. Nice ability to have, rather. Help them find permanence. Engine Rat. Alright, I mean, this will gain us some more life, and it'll get rid of something here. Probably the Scurry Foot, but works for me. So, they've only got one creature that can kill the 3 power things I have, so I may just, like... I may just swing with my 3 power things here. See what they sacrifice. Well, that's not true, because they can do the brood wagon thing. God, that's annoying. Well... I'd like to increase my max speed because of Momentum Breaker, so I think I'm going to use Engine Rat's ability now. It's not like they don't know our hand's empty, you know? Because the more life we can gain with Momentum Breaker, the better. Yeah, they'll use their ability now. There's a very good chance they still have something very scary in their deck. I mean, they've got 10 cards left. This does technically, potentially mill them more quickly, but... yeah, but the good news is, all their stuff's on the ground. None of it has trample. Okay, well now they have a Hazard of the Dunes, so much for that last part. But we still have so many bodies that we can just, like, block and cast them from the graveyard. And I just feels reasonably likely that we manage to outlast them here. Though them playing multiple spells in a turn doesn't do a whole lot to help us on that front. Now they have 2 reach creatures, too. Alright. Mingler. So we'll drop them to 11. Take our max speed to 3. Are they thinking about countering it? I mean, the only counterspell there is, I can pay for. It does keep me from using Engine Rat again, though. For a turn. I think it's probably better for me to gain 1 and then lose 1 and me get a 3/3 than it is to use the Engine Rat's ability. So if they did that, I would still pay before. But it does make a difference, because if they don't do it, I can do both. So, you know... especially at this stage in the game, if you have that counterspell, it's not the worst card. It does something. Makes their clock a little longer. Because, yeah, they'll go to 11, I'll go to 13, and then I can use Engine Rat to drop them to 9. But, yeah... doing the monument once their graveyard was more full and they had used the thing to bring back the brood wagon probably was the better plan. So yeah, Hazard of the Dunes can get all big and stuff, but I mean, there's another big creature. Luckily it doesn't buff anything. Yeah, they've got 7 cards and we have 12. Alright, we'll use Engine Rat's ability. Not going to use Momentum Breaker yet. Ooh. What do you do for me, Roadside Blowout? Maybe nothing this turn. But on a later turn... I mean, bouncing the Hazard is pretty good just because it's likely to slow down. Yeah, so I think we'll go ahead and just bounce the Hazard now. So, yeah. I could bounce Ooze Patrol. It would mill them more. It's not a May trigger, but it's probably, you know, let's get rid of the Trample Reach thing. All right, well, fair enough. And we'll use this to get to max speed. So now our Momentum Breaker gains us 4 when we sacrifice it. Yeah, the awkward spot they're in is that their Beast Rider Vanguard will make them mill out faster. So that's awkward for them. All right, so they can grow that to have 8 power, huh? Well... we do only have one flying blocker. One thing that can block a flyer right now. So maybe I'm just supposed to take 8 and then attack them with all my flyers next turn. They block 1, 3, and take... yeah, that'll be lethal, because they'll only be able to block one reach thing. So let's just take it, actually. Now they're going to sink their mana into the Vanguard, though. I guess that might mean they cannot... well, okay. I think that means we win. Yeah, because we go... crew this. Let's do the math one more time. They have 1 reach blocker. I attack them with 2 3-power things. They'll block 1, but they'll take 5, and then I can use Engine Rat for the last 2. So yeah, that'll work. I almost tapped one of those. That would have been funny. Well, we're going to kill him with damage, I think. It took a while, but... we also get to draw a card, you know. That matters, I guess. Then we use Engine Rat's ability. All right. Okay, well, we got a similar hand. No creatures this time to do Curse Cloth Wrappings things with, but early drops, removal, works for me. Run our Mingler out there. Yeah, don't think we're supposed to, like, flood the engine on the optimizer. We may just play Wrappings this next turn, even though we're not going to, like, do anything with it for a while. Okay. Yeah, I think we run it out. There's a chance they have counter magic, I guess, but... that's fine. Is it fine? Yeah, it's fine. We have other ways to win. I mean, if we didn't have other ways to win, maybe I'd be a little more worried, but... I guess it's creature or vehicle anyway, the main counterspell in this set, isn't it? Engine Rat will be a 2/2. Looks like they're trying to decide if they're going to cast like a 5-mana artifact. No, just a Thopterist. Alright. Definitely gonna bobble here. I guess I hit the Thopterist. Yeah. I was considering hitting the Optimizer, but my Mangler can block the Optimizer. Definitely going to surveil here if we don't end up using maximum overdrive, since we could put more things in our graveyard to, you know, effectively draw cards when we do it. Plus, not drawing lands is nice anyway. That's annoying. But not a huge issue. They do get to attack us for 1 here. Alright, let's crack our bauble. Yeah, we'll put the land away. We would like to draw a spin out, though. So we will. Do I want to flood the engine on the Harrier? I mean, it probably slows them down a bunch, and it seems like that's probably a good idea to slow them down. Because right now they have a source of damage in the air that I can't stop. Yeah, let's flood the engine on the Harrier. I don't really want to trade Engine Rat for it yet. I mean, you know, I'll do that at some point and then happily recast it. But if I don't have to do it yet... Don't love another flyer. We do have our own flying things that can get in the way at some point. But that point is not now. Alright, well, Thopterist is nice. Go ahead and play it. We'll probably just start sending the Thopterist in there. Especially if their board continues to look about like it does now, because I can just recast the Thopterist, get another Thopter with our wrappings. Yeah. I'm going to need some Thopters, so deal with all these flyers. They might flood the engine, or they might flood the engine or Thopterist, but I feel like if they do have one, hitting Engine Rat with it probably matters more. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not the craziest play given my Curse Cloth wrappings, so I sort of feel... I understand why they did it. I'm thinking I'm going to trade this, because it's not going to do much else for us. Although, I guess if I get to the point where I can maximum overdrive... I can kill a Wicker Folk and then just have a 2/2 flyer of my own around. Yeah, alright. That's probably worth trying to do. Okay, Roadside Blowout. Can get rid of a Thopter entirely, which might just be the best play here. It probably is. Okay, I like the Packdoll Terror. Yeah, we're going to try to do the maximum overdrive thing. We'll see how it goes. It's a little bit risky. If they have mana up, of course. Oh. Alright. Well, they've got their own Curse Cloth wrappings. So they're going to be recasting those. But I still think we want to do the maximum overdrive here. Okay. Yeah, so... I think we attacked them with R2-2. Probably should also have sent the Mangler in, because it's not doing much on the ground right now. How many Wreckage Wicker Folk are there? A lot. They are really good. They're probably the best 2-drop. They are the best 2-drop, at least a common or uncommon for this particular deck. Yeah, they've got an Engine Rat they can cast now. Man, those Flood the Engines are brutal because they're so good against our Curse Cloth Wrappings, which I guess we did to one of their things first before we knew they had Curse Cloth Wrappings. But, yeah. Oof. That's all I have to say. Sending in the Mangler doesn't really make sense now because they can double block and then cast a Wicker Folk from the graveyard and nonsense like that. The Wicker Folks are going to be 2/4s when they come back too because they're going to be zombies. So I have that to look forward to. Luckily, the Thopter is still a Thopter. That would be really bad if it was a zombie. Yeah, I mean, we have our Engine Rat online, but right now I don't feel like we can weather this onslaught for very long. Freaking Wicker Folks. Their deck is probably a better Curse Cloth Wrappings deck than ours. It'd be nice to get our mill card. Ugh. Why? I guess we're gonna kill the 2/4 in response. Take one less from the life drain. Yeah. And it's not something they can cast from the graveyard. It's just completely dead. So, but we do drop to 6. Wow. We really bricked on these draws when they really needed to be substantive. They just weren't. Alright, well, we're gonna pass. I think we're probably dead. Yeah. Now we're definitely dead. So. Yep. Well, we got out Curse Cloth Wrappings, that's for sure. All those freaking Surveil 2-drops. We've only got one of those, I think, unfortunately. All right, we will keep it. Don't have double black right away, but that's okay. Play something I can kill with my bauble. I mean, there's a decent chance that they do. Yep. That does feel good to kill with Grim Bauble, that's for sure. And we will. You don't get to hit nearly as many 2-drops in this format with Grim Bauble, you know, with the 1 mana -2/-2 effect, because they gave creatures such good stat lines. Alright. I mean, I think I'm okay with letting that stay in play for a turn and adding a much, you know, something substantial to the board instead of Grim Bobbling it right away. Like, because if I bobbled, I wouldn't have really been able to do anything else with my turn, because we've only got 1 black mana. So, yeah. I mean, if they use Scrap Compactor here to kill our Thopterist, and that's like their turn, I think we feel pretty good about things. Yeah, I think we just take 2. Pothole mole. They did whiff on the pothole mole. That's never fun. Okay, I may let it stay in play for even longer now. Let's attack with both of these. Then we'll play Packdoll Terror. They are 1 mana away from being able to destroy the Packdoll Terror, but that's fine. I mean, again, it's like they time walk themselves to kill our creature. If they whiff again, oh my god. Oh, I was complaining about my luck in the last game, but that's brutal to whiff completely. Okay. So let's go ahead and bobble the Vanguard. We need to find more black mana pretty desperately. And we'll attack with both of those. We can surveil to try to find black mana. Yeah, they're going to kill the Terror here. Alright, well, now we'll just play the Thopterist. At this point, I think we just send in Engine Rat too, honestly. Play Thopterist. Yeah, that's not great news. Luckily, they couldn't saddle it. Still not great news, though. Aha! Alright, so let's attack with everything. Yeah. I do think it's pretty important that we use Spin Out on the auxiliary. But we can wait until it's crewed or not crewed, so yeah. Saddled or not saddled. We do have lots of good stuff to cast from our graveyard. Yeah, I think we take the 4, because there's a chance they play something I'm even more concerned about. Or maybe not. So let's use Spin Out. They may have Defend the Rider. Nope, guess not. You know, we keep drawing things to do, which is a good problem to have, and it means I may as well just keep running them out there instead of, like, you know, Curse Cloth wrappings and stuff. Even if they have a sweeper, like, which they don't in their colors, but even if they did, our Curse Cloth wrappings would fix the problem for us, so. Okay, I don't think we can keep this. I mean, you know, if we draw a swamp, we're golden, but if we draw more black cards or islands, we lose. So that's a little too... Alright, this hand is better because of the Mangler, basically. What do we send back? I mean, it's probably like the Overdrive, just because our mana is going to be... Finding the time to have the mana up for this does not look promising in the early going with this hand, and I feel like Grim Bauble will be easier to use. Oh god, give me the mana for the Bauble. So when this gets going, it's a problem, and normally we'd be able to, would have been able to kill it, but we didn't have our black mana. We'll probably have to put Flood the Engine on it. Does look like it didn't get saddled. I'm happy about that. Yeesh. Okay. Yeah, so we'll put Flood the Engine on it, because we are in a world of trouble. If it gets going. So... Don't think this card's very good, and the data would back that up. Mostly, it's better to just play like a 4-mana 4/4 than it is, or a 4-mana, you know, just a creature, just like a Pact Altair. Like this is just too one-dimensional, basically. But we aren't able to do anything, so you know this is the kind of game where the Armory could take over. Yeah, it could happen. You know, not that the Rumbler... Oh, God. Not that the Rumbler needs that much help. But, yeah, I mean, it can work. That's one thing people don't get, like, when I talk about cards and I call them unplayable or whatever based on the win rate and my experience, is they think what that means is that it, like, has an effect that is either always useless or doesn't win you the game. Or that, What? Oh, it raised its power, yeah. They think of it as an effect like... It has to be something that makes you lose the game or does nothing. And that's, you know, a card that does nothing a huge chunk of the time. What a brutal way to lose. But a card that does nothing a huge chunk of the time, like not Earth Rumbler, it's good. Like the Armory, is unplayable for that reason. And it doesn't mean you can't lose to it. You know, even the worst cards on 17 lands have like a 48% win rate or whatever. Playing a card doesn't automatically lose you a game. But what you could be doing with 4 mana instead of playing Alacrian Armory is way better. Like, you know, if they just played a 4 mana creature here, we'd be in just as much trouble, and it didn't need the additional setup of Alacrian Armory doing its thing. You know what I mean? So, it is always fun to lose to these cards, though, because it always brings people out who are like, I thought you said it was an F. And I'm like, well, it is. Just because I lost to it doesn't mean it isn't. I was completely defenseless. So, of course, and they played an Earth Rumbler, so of course I lost to it. That was kind of brutal. Like, we got to have some fun, grindy games, but this deck was definitely better than 4-3. Were we 5-3 or 4-3? I think we were just 4-3, which is not really where I'd like to be with this deck that had so much cool stuff going on. But alas, these things happen.